down by wider globalization forces. At the end, most interesting development would be smaller South Asian nations would become far more globalized and would benefit from expansion in global labor market. Dr. Pramod Jaisal from Nepal Institute for International Cooperation down by wider globalization forces, and Muhammad Amir Rana, most interesting development for peace studies. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining with us. Bio of the speakers will be posted in the group chat. Smaller South Asian nations will become far more globalized housekeeping and benefit for the from expansion in global labor market. Cell phone, please for the participants, please mute your audio and Nepal Institute for International Cooperation and wider globalization forces. And Muhammad Amir Rana, most interesting development for peace studies. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining with us. Raise your hand, text your question here. Bio of the speakers will be posted in the group chat. Smaller South Asian nations follow this. Person will get the floor later. Without further ado, I'd like to request Dr. Shubha Boshi to give his opening speech. We'll get only 10 to 15 minutes. Dr. Shubha Boshi.
Bonjour, good morning. Just started saying a token recognition that I come from Montreal. McGill University is located in Montreal. So I greeted you in French, but I shall obviously present the paper in English. It will be probably roughly 10 to 12 minutes long, and then obviously the discussion will start. South Asia is a region characterized by many contradictions. According to 2012 statistics, nearly 23% of world's population live in South Asia, with 15% of world's arable land. But the region has only 6% of world's purchasing power. Based on global domestic product, it shares percent of world's goods trade and attracts only 3% of world's foreign trade investment. Despite having such small share of global trade in comparison to her size of population, in terms of wealth generation and economic growth, bonjour, good morning. Just started saying a token recognition that I come from Montreal, McGill University. Elucidate this point of incomplete decolonization by referring to the contradiction inherent in the term South Asia itself. The term South Asia is of recent origin and clearly symptomatic of post-colonial recognition of diverse nation states in the region. Yet this post-colonial description of geopolitical territory contained within its embryo a signature of colonialism in the very structure of territorially bound within nation states marked by rigid boundaries. The territorial states in Europe are regarded as a byproduct of Treaty of Westphalia signed in 1648. In Asia, it depended on two crucial factors. First, the mapping of territorial possessions of European empires, and second, the gradual transfer of power to indigenous elites in these territorially defined states. To elucidate this point further, we have to look at the mapping of the subcontinent. Colonial rulers who gradually came to conquer the region from 1757 onwards earnestly started mapping the territories that were under their control. As a consequence, three lines defined the region: Durand Line, the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan; McMahon Line, the border between India and Tibet; and the more famous or infamous Radcliffe Line, the border between Pakistan and India and Bangladesh. But the border making in South Asia did not stop at the former core territory of British Indian Empire. The neighboring region of Afghanistan was also defined by Great Game, the infamous euphemism for British and Russian rivalry over influence in Central Asia. In mid-1880s, a joint Russian and British boundary commission defined the northern boundary of Afghanistan through a line drawn as a border along the Amudarya River. Nepal and Tibet were surveyed in a clandestine way and became the subject of romantic tales for geographers. Even Sri Lanka, an island nation, became aware of its topographical interior through colonial surveys. This colonial border making has enormous influence on contemporary geopolitics in the region. Indeed, what Lord Curzon, the famous Viceroy of India in 1900, said in 1907 in the Sheldonian Theatre at Oxford is true for South Asia today. He declared in unequivocal terms, frontiers are indeed Raja's age, on which hang, suspended the modern issues of war or peace or life or death, to nations. The integrity of our borders is the condition of existence of the state. In South Asia, with colonial mapping, as T.N. Emery remarked, frontiers are transformed into borders, and today we are noticing borders are transformed into fences and are marked by quotidian instruments of war. These are true about all borders between India and Pakistan, partly about Pakistan and Afghanistan, and India and Bangladesh, and recently even border disputes, though not of violent nature, have occurred between India and Nepal. An incomplete process of decolonization of mind actually led towards recolonization of politics of governability in relation to space. The result is the restriction on the movement of people, increase in violence, and stigmatizing of other South Asians across the border. Obvious acts of state-sponsored terror remain constant feature of low-intensity conflicts on the sensitive border between India and Pakistan and Afghanistan. Thus, international politics in South Asia remains in a constant state of tension. Despite such fragmented and painful existence, South Asian nations had a commonality from 1990 in terms of economic policy making. They liberated their market structures under the impact of globalization. In 2006, there came into existence South Asian Free Trade Area Agreement with the ultimate objective of turning the region into a full-fledged free trade area. Under conditions of globalization, SAARC countries like their northern neighbor China participated in global value chain in order to expand their national economies. Between 1990 and 2008, there took place an impressive rise of 12% points, and the share of GVC trade in world touched the peak of 52% in 2008 in the year of global financial crisis. As South Asia is trying to cope with the dynamics of globalization, her northern neighbor China emerged as a crucial player in global economy. Though China is regarded as an outside player in the region through the autonomous region of Tibet within quote, she has long border with South Asian nation states of India, Bhutan, Nepal, and Pakistan. In 1950s, after a brief honeymoon, China and India parted from each other's company rather violently after border disputes in 1962. India viewed China's growing bonhomie with other regions states in the region as an attempt to encircle India, while other states in the region view it as an opportunity to expand their economic and military strategic positions. From 1966 onwards, China developed long-standing all-weather partnership with Pakistan. In turn, Pakistan helped China to bridge the gap